share screen. Share screen. More people joining. Perfect. Okay, so we can officially start. So, welcome everyone. Thanks for being here today with us. We have another AI and blockchain and creativity meetup. This community is getting bigger and bigger. Very happy about it. A few words about who I am. You can just call me Stelios because it's easier than my full name, which is Stylianos. I'm the organizer of this meetup. I identify with the title of a data scientist. I've been involved in this area for 10 years, both in the area of pure data science, but also education. I'm affiliated with various organizations and universities, including London Business School and UCL. You can learn more about my work here. And I've also written up a book, which I'm more than happy to share with you if you're interested in data science. It's not technical, it's for people who have zero technical skills. If you drop me an email, I'll share my email in the chat later. I'll be more than happy to share it with you. And I'm also a member of an AI art and blockchain collective called eyeXmachina. You can see some of our work here, and you're also going to have the opportunity to hear a few words about eyeXmachina from Jack, who's here with us. But we'll get there in a second. So a little history, this meetup has been running since 2019. We started with like a small event in Bethnal Green in 2019 on what was actually the hottest recorded day, I think, in South England in the last 200 years or something, and we ended up having only 10 people. But since then, we've reached close to 400 members only on meetups. And on Eventbrite today, we have more than 100 registrations, something which attests to the strength of the community, but also the interest in this space. So before we get started, a big thank you to all our sponsors, a big thank you to Immersive Kind, a big thank you to Electric Artefacts, a big thank you to TESSERACT Academy, and also the UCL Blockchain Center and the Cyprus Blockchain Center. I'm not gonna go into details behind all of these entities. I'll share more links in the chat. We have some speakers from some of those organizations here today with us, and they'll make sure to share more about their work. So we actually have 7 speakers. Sorry, I made this slide that talks about 4 speakers probably 2 months ago. So please ignore it because we have 7 speakers. We have a very, I think this must be the largest meetup in terms of both speakers, but also participants we have had. So it's Aleksandra, Harry, Kadeen James, Elena and Jan from NFT4U, Elizabeth Strickler, who's joining us from Georgia Tech from the US, Mike Tyka, artist researcher, Google engineer, and finally Jack, Oat and David from eyeXmachina. I don't want to go into details of introducing all those people. First of all, because there are quite a few, and I don't want to be talking for 10 minutes. Secondly, because I'm sure they're more than capable of running introductions themselves. And we're covering a bit of everything today. We're going to cover obviously about NFTs, which is the main topic of this event, but we're also going to talk about generative art, generative AI, about some of the business repercussions of NFT and artistic repercussions, about what it's like to build an NFT platform. So we're looking for a super powered event, which is hopefully going to give you a very nice condensed version of what's happening in the world of NFTs today. So ideally, in the end of all our events, we like to run panels. So once we go through the presentations, we like to run a bit of an open discussion around usually a couple of questions where all the participants, all the speakers can participate, but also the audience. Because we have 7 speakers today, I'm not sure if we will be able to do this. As a general rule, we try to restrict the total running time of the meetup to 1.5 hours, maybe a bit longer, simply because we've noticed that people get a bit fatigued. So if time allows it, we'll run the panel, otherwise not. So a few words about logistics before we kick off with Aleksandra. In case you didn't guess it by now, I'm the moderator of this meetup. And because there are quite a few people, we kindly ask everyone to communicate using the chat. The format we're using is a 5 to 10 minute presentation plus some Q&A. I'm gonna be announcing the speakers and calling them on the virtual stage. And after the end of each talk, if you have a question for the speaker, then please write it in the chat and I'll make sure to read it out loud and allow the speaker to answer. And finally, this session is being recorded and parts of it might be used in a documentary that eyeXmachina is working on. If you have an objection against this, or you're too shy, or you care a lot about privacy or whatever, then please let us know so we can remove any parts in which you participate. So that being said, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I will now ask Aleksandra to come on stage.
Thank you, Stylianos. Thank you so much. And thanks for having us here today. Hello, everyone. Some of you might have heard my talk at the last event. For those that haven't, I'm Aleksandra Artamonovskaja, but you can call me Aleksandra Art. I'm the founder of Electric Artefacts, which is the online digital art gallery and also an agency. I am also the head of partnerships at the .art domain zone, the top-level domain for the creative community. So if you see websites finishing with .art, you know what I mean. For the last 5 years, I've been working within the art and tech sector with many different artists, including Mike Tyka. He was one of the sort of first artists I actually met working with artificial intelligence. It was 4 years ago. And on our last event, I talked a little bit about the exhibition we were running and how we introduced NFTs. And I thought this is a fantastic event to dive a little bit deeper into this. So as a gallery working and selling digital arts over the last couple of years, the boom of NFTs obviously had a massive effect on us. It allowed us to communicate the authenticity of the works to our customers, but also it faced us with certain challenges. For example, the ecological impact that the blockchain has. And we went on a journey where we would start working with artists and we tried minting across several different platforms, both on Ethereum and Tezos, which is an alternative blockchain that uses less energy for artists to mint works. I am not going to delve too deep into this because Mike will tell the story of how we released our first launch later and actually have a live demo of minting one of the works and how the process looks like. So I think this is really exciting. But I will share sort of how our platform looks like and what we found works for us. So this is Electric Artefacts. Currently, we have a solo show of one artist. And what we noticed is many of the NFT platforms that allow artists to mint works don't really offer the space to tell the story about the works or to give a little bit more information about the artist. So what we really do is we add all of that information to every single work. We also work with the artist to tell the story through a series of editorials and curatorial texts. We also host curated panel discussions, similarly like we have now, where we get together people who are interested in the medium and have a personal conversations with the artists. So what we did here, so far we represent 4 artists. We're not a massive team and we're trying to scale as much as we can. Here we can see, for example, Mike's page, and this is part of his portraits of imaginary people. And this was one of the first sort of releases that we made. What I really like about this page is that I hope the signal is fast enough for you to see that there's actually live code embedded, and you can see an insane amount of different variants of the works. So without further ado, I know we have a lot of people, so you can always get in touch with me or explore the website in your own time. And I'm going to pass the words to the next speaker.
Great, thanks a lot. Any questions before we move on? Okay. So, sorry, there's one more person joining. So for the next speaker, I guess, so on the lineup, actually, I have now Harry Wilmot. Harry, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Hello, everyone. My name is Harry Wilmot. I'm a I'm a newbie here. I've only just jumped in with Immersive Kind this spring. I'm just going to kind of quickly run through who I am. I am an artist. I'm known as Hasmus or Hey Hasmus in the crypto art space. I've only been a crypto artist like this last year, in this kind of buck wild year we've just had. I was like a video photographer and then a 360 video person. Then I moved somewhere to learn how to do VR and immersive events. Then COVID hit, and then I was like, oh, I can't do any of that stuff. So I just jumped into signing up with Known Origin and became an artist with them. And then this whole year, I've just been in amongst this crazy world of making art on the blockchain. And particularly in the last 5 months, as we know, NFTs have just kind of completely blown up. And I just wanted to chat about how, from my perspective, I see NFTs as not just a medium, but it's like an enabler for kind of the decentralized art movement. And kind of you have people calling themselves like NFT artists, and they can do that. But that for a lot of people already in the space, they were like, oh, you can't call yourselves an NFT artist because that doesn't make any sense, because it's like calling yourself a canvas artist or a paint artist. In this, what I like to call the decentralized art phenomenon, this kind of new cultural, socio-economical shift onto art and things and contracts and whatever onto the blockchain is a really cool place to be in right now. In the last year, I've noticed kind of the founding genre of decentralized art, crypto art, which is like the kind of collectibles and the collectibles like Rare Pepes and CryptoPunks, CryptoKitties, all the started things. And then you've got the kind of the trash art stuff, which happened just around the time when I started doing crypto art with artists like Rob Ness. Then you've got more interesting things these days with like hash masks, which actually use the kind of NFT technology to generate the art as well. And there's interesting ones like Eula Beats, who make kind of music out of that kind of technology as well. And then you've got the kind of reductionists, NFT artists, crypto artists, who are kind of rehashing all these kind of conversations about what is art, and kind of breaking it down, taking all the layers off. Artists like Pac, who are kind of selling pixels for stupid amounts of money. And yeah, there's like this whole debate about, oh, NFTs, are they art? Yes, everything is art. It's just NFTs are an enabler for artists to just put their art and sell them in things. And I believe that we shouldn't belabor the delivery system for decentralized art. And we are all artists who sell the work, and we should treat it as the same casualness as artists who have websites, artists who have NFTs, that kind of thing. And I think I've been talking for too long, so I'll leave it there. Any questions, come to me at the end.
Thank you, Harry. Yeah, no, I don't think you talked for too long. It's interesting to hear your perspective. Are there any questions from the audience? Yeah, if there are no questions, then I have a question. So I'm like more of basically I'm a data scientist, right? And I'm also involved in the blockchain space for some time. And my involvement in the art space has been, I don't know, I've been into this scene for the last 2-3 years, I think. Time flies by. Yeah, anyway. And I would just be curious to hear about what your opinion is to, maybe not only your opinion, what opinions you had from other artists as to how easy it is to enter this space and do things in this space. Whether we're talking about, blockchain and NFTs or generative art. In general, what's your impression from what people are saying?
It is quite easy to just jump in, particularly with the eyeXmachina and the Tezos blockchain art and things. You can literally grab yourself a Temple wallet, go onto eyeXmachina, I just call it Hen because it's easier to say, here and now. and then upload stuff, buy stuff. You can be an artist, be a collector. So a wonderful part of the space. But then there is the rabbit hole of like hash masks and like games, NFTs games and gamified situations and trading. And it can get like opaque very, 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 very quickly and just completely overwhelming. And particularly this space is moving so damn fast. I'd say it's silly to kind of compare it to the old kind of world and the old art world and things. That art market, just forget about that, just focus on the now. Is crazy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And there's also one more question. What do you think of the enormous amount of artists coming to take profit of the NFT business?
I see it as empowering artists to and empowering and enabling artists to sell their own work in a way that they can control. It's a decentralized space. There's no central benefit for anybody. Everybody's getting their own benefit. It's not a system of gain for any one thing or whatever. It's everyone being able to sell their own stuff for what they deserve.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's one more question before we move on to our next speaker. I mean, there's also a question as to whether the quality of the art prevail. I think it's best if we leave this question for the end. So maybe we have enough time to answer this in a panel. But someone says that they're confused in the beginning whether NFTs related to art. Actually, I think both questions probably are suitable for the panel. So I'm just gonna add the note. So give me a second to add this note on my notebook. I think actually the quality of the art prevail. It's quite a good question. And thank you very much. And then we're going to move on to our next speaker. The next speaker is going to be Elena and Jan from NFT for You. I have enabled screen sharing.
Hello.
So feel free to share your screen whenever you're ready.
Okay. Can everyone see?
All good.
Okay. Good afternoon or good evening, whenever you are located. We are NFT for You, and we are so grateful to speak in front of such a great public and also among blockchain specialists. My name is Elena Mirgalieva. I'm a head of marketing and sales at NFT for You. And we also have today Jan Bodnia, who's the founder of NFT for You. And he is the best person to tell us about NFT technology.
I mute myself. I think majority are aware about NFT technology, but for those who don't, I will speak about some basic stuff that NFT is non-fungible by its nature. So it's different. So the difference from the fungible stuff like fiat currency tokens or flyers is that it's unique and it's minted on the blockchain, and this is the difference between NFT and cryptocurrency as we know it. And cryptocurrency are traded on the crypto exchanges like Coinbase, and NFT are traded now on the marketplaces. And the process of creating the NFT is basically minting it through the contracts that are differently optimized. And usually the contract standard is ERC-721 is one of the most common standard. And this standard provides a basic functionality to track NFT transfers, sell, and buy all the transactions with the NFTs. But because the cryptocurrencies are volatile, and to run the contracts, we need to use some Gwei or gas or whatever minting currency it is. The prices of minting also change all the time and quite volatile, and that could be a downfall of the market. And the last point I want to add that recently Central Bank of England announced that they want to create their own NFTs. So not NFTs, their own cryptocurrencies. So we think that it might look that their technology stack will be similar to Ethereum. So there is a potential in future to create NFTs on the central bank's currencies like Bank of China or Bank of England.
Yeah, we also see varieties of creatives that are looking for ways to monetize their content, increase brand loyalty, improve relationship with fans, and use innovative ways to stay in demand. So that technology provides ability to create user-friendly marketplaces for creators and collectors. The artwork or any type of work minted on blockchain is almost impossible to counterfeit, and a blockchain makes hacking very difficult because every transaction is recorded across a huge decentralized network. So the basic concept of a non-fungible token is marry the world of digital asset with the security of cryptocurrency.
Yeah, and I will talk about varieties of platform available now. I know that some speakers already mentioned known origin, but we took a most in terms of trading volume, one of the most big ones platform, the biggest platforms. And I start with Rarible and OpenSea. These are usual marketplaces that is a collections of everything that's on chain. Basically, it has some stuff from art and also from game items and other items. And it's really, we find that it's really hard to navigate in such a huge marketplace. And in terms of user experience, it's quite hard to find the content you look for unless you know exactly what you need. Then there is a niche marketplace, or what we call like focused digital platforms that are aimed either to art items, or for example, they're concentrated on other type of item like gaming items or fashion items. And these we like Maker's Place and Known's Origin and other types of platforms like this. But the main drawback of this, some of them were developed before with the previous standards, so the minting cost is not optimized, and in terms of both sustainability concern and the pricing concern, the contracts are not optimized and it's not cheap to mint there. And the last type of platform that we find useful to overview is our metaverses, and these are basically 3D VR spaces where you can travel and live in, and they try to emulate our life and basically integrate NFTs to daily activity in VR or AR technology. But they're quite, because of the state-of-the-art VR and AR technology, quite hard to use them too, and it's not really intuitive. So basically, what is NFT for you then? NFT for you is a digital platform, and we want to build a digital platform for constructing NFTs. We optimized contracts so that it will allow cheap NFTs minting, and we will do a lot of stuff off-chain. So it will allow to increase the audience reach and income of the digital artists and bloggers that we focus on to start with. And then it will allow instant NFT creation. You can purchase and collect unique products for fiat money, not Ethereum. And this also will be quite beneficial for our participants. And then obviously it will integrate some sharing stuff on social media so that you can share your collections online. And obviously its secondary market will be an asset. And the last bit is a governance token. We know that several platforms have already governance token, but the essence of the governance token that we can have a continuous feedback from our users.
Yeah, so thank you. These are our NFT for you people. So at the moment, we do have a variety of creators, bloggers, and digital artists and niche physical artists. So personally, for example, are lifestyle and fashion bloggers with 177K followers on Instagram. They get sponsored by world-known retail brands, and they have created unique NFTs with us from their outfits. With one of their NFTs, a buyer gets a physical dress shipped directly to his or her house. We also have a famous digital artist. One of them is close to Beeple style in his artwork, very talented and well known in the crypto communities. And last but not least, our niche clients, we actually releasing an exclusive NFT collection with a worldwide leading figurative sculptor on the 7th of May, which is actually happening tomorrow. The collection is available to view by invites only on our Origin NFT for You website. And especially for today's attendees, we will be giving away a few invites for the exclusive collection. All you have to do is go onto origin.nftforyou.io, click I want invite, put an email to receive a unique code. Our team will get back to you right away. And of course, do not forget to subscribe to our social media channels, especially Medium and Instagram, as we share news on our upcoming collections, press releases. We also educate audience on NFT and blockchain topics. Please welcome to our NFT community, NFT for You community. Thank you.
Thank you, Elena and Jan. Maybe you also like to share the link on the chat so it's easier for people to access. I see there are no questions. I have one question, which is a bit of a niche question. Maybe it's not so relevant to artists in the audience. I just wanted to ask about the governance token. Like, what's your vision? Are you envisioning more of a community in which artists and creators can also participate? Or are you envisioning something which is fairly open? What's your vision for governance, and how does this differentiate what you guys are doing compared to other platforms?
Yeah, so basically it's a DAO idea. So we want the platform to be guided by its users and majority creators, and we want to encourage creators to mint more NFTs. And our governance token will have some properties that are unique to our platform and linked to our features, but they're really specific. But if you want to imagine what it is, it's a DAO token. So so we want to, at some stage, to transfer the governance of the platform to a public that uses it.
Okay, very interesting. Yeah, I might actually ping you separately about this, because tokenomics is an interest of mine. So I'm always interested to see how different projects are working around this part, like tokenomics or governance. But thank you. This was very useful. Yeah, once again, maybe just make sure to share your link in the chat so other people can also access the invite you shared on the presentation. If there are no more questions, then I'm going to move on to Elizabeth, who is the director of the Mid Entrepreneurship and Innovation Institute in Georgia State University. Elizabeth, feel free to introduce yourself and also share your screen. The stage is yours.
Okay, hi everybody. I'm going to try to go fast here. So I'm Elizabeth Strickler. I'm the Director of Media Entrepreneurship and Innovation at Georgia State University, and also the Blockchain Lab. I kind of got thrown that. But at the Creative Media Industries Institute, we have a 3-story virtual production center where we create our students create the metaverse. We're located in Atlanta, Georgia. So this is going to be a very fast and furious sort of the future of NFTs. And you all are my beta audience. I've never given this talk before, and this is something I'm working on, which is a foresight project to try to understand where things are going. So I'm not going to go over too much of this, but basically what I do is I go through and read a ton of articles and then look at what the drivers are. And then I look for what would happen if we continue on sort of a what seems like a normal trajectory. Then what looks like if we kind of go exponential into a more transformative trajectory. And then the other is when we look at something where sort of things collapse. So this is going to be very wild. Okay. Right now, collectors and crypto enthusiasts such as you all find joy and excitement in participating in the early iteration of what someday will become a standard of buying, selling, and owning on the internet. That's sort of the normal trajectory that we're on right now, I think. But what are the drivers affecting the future of NFTs? So storage is a big issue. Many of you have probably heard where your NFT is actually stored, because the token is just a pointer. So whether it's stored in IPFS or some privatized storage place, that's an issue. The exchange. So people have mentioned Rarible and OpenSea and Nifty Gateway and Hickek-Nunk. Well, you can't exchange and move your NFT from one blockchain world to another. So it's kind of the similar to moving a euro from to a dollar. You can't do that right now. Fraud. There are people who are downloading and buying people's NFTs and then uploading them as if they're the originator. Sort of trying to connect the physical to the digital is just an area of excitement and possible futures. Somebody already mentioned the environment and the cost of mining on the environment. Right now, scalability and speed, we've seen like the gas costs have gone up tremendously. The Ethereum gets overloaded by people buying and selling when there's a big drop. Quantum computing could come in and break all the cryptography that's happening right now, and government regulations can really interfere. So there's 3 potential futures, like I said: collapse, the new equilibrium, and transformation. I'm going to start with collapse. Let's just skip that. Okay, collapse. So collapse is the crypto bubble bursts. IPFS and decentralized storage are hacked. Ownership becomes a tracking nightmare, and we can't figure out who originated the content. Fraud is rampant. Quantum computers can hack the cryptography. Ethereum promises to be moving to a proof of stake, which is much faster and more gentle on the environment. But what if it can't move? It's in the transformation right now. Trusted fiduciaries like the one we just heard about in Turkey run off with everybody's stuff. And China bans Bitcoin and mining and cuts off, half of, a large part of the world. All of those are possible. But equilibrium, kind of what happens if we continue on the trajectory that we're on right now. The NFT bubble will burst. That is probably going to happen. And that's a good thing, because then those of us who aren't making crazy, stupid amounts of money can really get serious. So it's kind of like if you were at part of the ICO phase, which was the initial coin offering, out of the dust comes the real players. New media art forms are created and enjoyed, like what many of you all are doing. NFTs continue to evolve into being sophisticated and useful. Generative, we work alongside of AI. There's unlockable content, Easter eggs, gaming, really fun things. The tokens can be useful, like tickets or special experiences. Simply put, everybody just starts to learn how the new internet, Web 3.0, works through art, which is a great thing. Reputation becomes tokenized, which we're seeing with Rally and Cred and all sorts of other blockchains like that. Okay, transformative. This is sort of a bigger, more beautiful world. All property becomes digital. Digital is more dominant than physical. All data is tracked so that we know the origin and ownership of even a narrative or a story. So we get into, truth in journalism. The metaverse is built and owned by all of us. Truth, health, and wealth are prioritized and provable and put on the blockchain. Crypto oracles, which is things outside of blockchains like weather, or health data, or like the entire Twitter sphere data turned into a data oracle, meaning that it's provable and factual. Karma results in currency. So instead of tweeting and getting likes, you tweet and get micro payments. And then skills are, you learn a skill and you put it on the blockchain, and then that gives you a credit, like a school credit. And then you don't have to go for 4 years and pay a ton of money. You can prove your skills and ability through the blockchain. So ultimately, we're all building the metaverse, in my opinion, and who builds it and who owns it and who narrates it matters. And so I think what we're all doing is building what the future will be. And that's why I love to see really serious artists and thoughtful people getting involved in the space. And yeah, so I'll stop right there.
Perfect. Thank you. That's very, very interesting. And there's something which is definitely worth talking about on the panel. But I think I'm also going to ask just to confirm. So you're saying that NFTs might go the same way as ICOs, right?
I mean, I don't know anything more than you all know, but I do think that there's going to be a time where the enthusiasm sort of dissipates, and people, they can't just keep going up and up in value. In the secondary market, all of the sales are based on the secondary market. So the secondary market is, many people only want to buy something if they think it's going to keep going up, and at some point it's not. So when it stops going up, then the secondary market starts to go back down, and only things that, so I think that buying something for $100 is certainly going to continue. Buying something for $10,000 is where I think that's the part that will probably burst, but Shall see.
Well, yeah, it's essentially the greater fool theory, right? I mean, what I mentioned in the chat is that my opinion is that one of the problems with ICOs is that many of them were scams, or they were very poorly designed. So they were promoting utility tokens with no real utility. With art, things are a bit different, because on one hand, valuations, I guess, relate to the greater fool theory to some extent. But then again, art doesn't really have any direct utility, as I see, like what ICOs were basically trying to do, because many ICOs were trying to create parallel economies about things like energy and infrastructure, etc. So if you just want to buy a piece of art for $1 million just because you like it, that's the utility there. You're not saying that people are going to exchange this, and it's basically another way to exchange some other kind of value, like electricity or whatever. But that's, we have a couple of questions. Elizabeth, do you mean that the digital market will slowly or suddenly will represent similar proportions as the 3D art market?
What does that mean? Does somebody want to?
It's a question by Margin. Maybe you want to, like, now it's an explosion.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I think that what you were saying,
Okay, I think it refers to the valuations, like high amount of money per artwork.
Right. Well, I think that the problem is a lot of people are getting into the art market for its investment and not because they like the art. That's one thing. And then the other thing is that there's a lot of people that are making kind of crappy art and trying to sell it, and not having the story behind it and the true artistry behind it. And I mean, so it's similar to the ICOs in the fact that not everybody's buying art because they love it. A lot of people are buying it because they think it's going to have greater value.
Okay, good point. And then someone is asking, how's the conversion of a piece of physical art into digital art verified? I guess that's more of a more technical question. I think maybe it's better if we reserve this for the panel because other people, maybe also the people from NFT4U want to share more about this. Maybe also have an opinion on this, but let's not go there now. Unless you want to say something, Elizabeth, on that.
I just was going to say there's a company called Suku, S-U-K-U, and they are patenting like it's an NPC. It's basically like it's something that sort of connects the physical to the digital. They're starting with sneakers, of course, but there's a lot of people working on that problem.
Yeah, I think it's the same with supply chains, basically. I mean, if anyone has worked on blockchain and supply chains, they will have seen a similar issue. But that's more of a technical topic. Maybe we can discuss it some other time. So thank you, Elizabeth. Now we're gonna go to our next speaker, which is Mike. Mike, feel free to share your screen. I'm going on mute.
Okay. Hey, can you hear me?
All good.
All right. All right. Can you see this? I'm gonna switch over here.
Yep.
Okay, great. I can't see anybody anymore, but maybe I can flip this. Is it still sharing correctly?
Yeah, we can see your screen. Actually, we can see the Zoom now.
Okay, that's the problem. Sorry, let me fix that.
We just want to share the slide deck.
I'll just share the whole screen.
Yeah. Yep.
There we go.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so yeah, so thanks for having me on here. It's a pleasure to talk to you all. My exposure to NFTs has been very short. It's really Alex's fault. And so I was thinking we would sort of go through this, sort of tell this little story of how I dipped my toe into NFTs together with electric artifacts. And it's been a really interesting journey. And I've learned a huge amount. I actually made a lot of friends in the community, getting to know electric artifacts and Hikennook for this process. So let's see if I can go to present mode. So I'm a scientist and an artist. I'm a background in biochemistry. And so the first art I made, this is almost 10 years ago, very physical work with glass and metal sculpting, all handmade. And these are all inspired by scientific concept, in this case, proteins and DNA. And then from there, doing also a lot of computational stuff and being involved in general technology overall, a lot of this stuff was made with 3D printing. I also started making more art that's sort of not necessarily just made with technology, but also about technology and our relationship with technology. So here's a piece I made with glass and bronze about our relationships with our mobile devices. This is another one, also about the addictive nature of our devices. Something I've definitely actually in the last couple of months with NFTs, I've been on Twitter way more than is healthy for me. And I'm gonna have to figure out how to do this sustainably, because I find that when you do NFTs, a lot of it is promotion and sort of I don't know if I should use the word hustling but you know, it's you know, you have to engage with the community, and then that actually takes a lot of time. I also do digital art. This started more recently for me in the last couple of years. This is some early Deep Dream work in 2015. And from there, I got into GANs, which is also a topic for today. So GANs just came on the scene 2016, 2017. It's really hard to make high-res GAN work at the time. This was before style GAN and stuff came along. So I did some work about 2017 on this and made a series of artworks called Portraits of Imaginary People, who are basically GAN generated portraits based on data from Flickr. These were really fun. And today we're going to actually mint one of these, the one on the left here, on Hikenhook. So at the end of this talk, we'll do a live demo. Hopefully it'll go okay. And this project evolved from just generating. People started thinking a lot about what it means to have synthetic media and also synthetic text. So this work was really inspired by what was happening during the 2016 sort of election manipulation campaign that was happening in the US. And social media, for the first time, really played a big role in shaping political discourse. And even though at the time this was done manually, people were trying to inject basically opinions and opinion-shaping material into the public discourse, it was pretty clear that with the arrival of synthetic media like GANs or language models, what was done then could really be scaled to an unprecedented scale and impact by automation, right? So if you can make realistic-looking avatars and realistic-looking tweets, you can send millions of these at a press of a button. A single person could potentially manipulate public discourse very effectively this way, which really hasn't been the case before in this kind of bottom-up way. So this evolved into a more physical artwork where I basically tried to emulate this process using a machine learning language model and these portraits. These were basically printers that would create these endless Twitter streams in a physical medium. And all of these were trained on the tweets from the 2016 Twitter bots. And so you get a lot of kind of crazy political ranting. That's all machine generated, and it's pretty fun. And indeed, now I found these two tweets a couple of months ago. This is in fact happening. So now there are fake accounts. In this case, Amazon and other companies are using fake imagery to create fake accounts that basically shape opinion. In one case, this is basically pretending that the worker conditions for Amazon workers are actually okay, which they're not. So it's not really known who funds this or whether this is directly from Amazon or not. But this technology is definitely being used this way today, exactly as we had feared. Okay, so now the NFT part. So we had this exhibition with Electric Artefacts going, and the NFT scene kind of exploded. At the same time, CryptoArt .wtf by Memo Acton was a prominent site warning people just how energy intensive these proof of work blockchains are. And it's something that's really kept me away from crypto up until now. I've obviously watched Bitcoin and Ethereum go through various hype cycles. But the insanity that is proof of work as an algorithm has always disturbed me. And now with the scene really exploding, my daytime job, I should say, is in climate research right now. So it's something that's very dear to my heart. And so when the conversation came up about minting NFTs, I basically balked at this and said, I can't ethically do this. And at the same time, work in climate science. I mean, it would be basically betraying my own work. But because of Memo's work, I mean, he didn't just warn people about this fact that these proof of work blockchains are so energy intensive. He also actually provided alternatives to use, and through that, I started looking at Tezos as an alternative, which is a proof of stake blockchain. And through involvement from Mario Klingemann and Joanny Le Mercier, I saw them actually use some of these alternative blockchains, despite sort of the risk of these being much smaller marketplaces, and it was really inspiring. I was like, okay, this is real, and so through their advocacy, essentially we decided to try it. And it was definitely, I definitely felt like it was a risk. Some conversations that Alex and I had right around the time just before our drop, were like, you know, the Hick and Nook looked really cool, but it was really early in development, and so there was, you know, things would break and sometimes would go offline, or some service that they were building on would go down, and we were trying to plan. And in the end, we had to actually move our drop, I think, by 24 hours to make it work. But it felt exciting, you know. It felt like we were there really early, and we were part of a movement to try and move the conversation towards it. And I feel like through many people's contributions to this, the site's really grown tremendously in the last couple of months. It's been really amazing to see. And so yeah, in the end, they sold okay. We were pretty happy with how it went. So yeah, so without further ado, I think we'll do a quick live demo. Unless there's some questions here, I have to set this up. So if you want to ask some questions now, I'm happy to take some.
Cool. Any questions? I don't think we have any questions for our audience. Maybe some people will come up with questions after our presentations during the panel. So, yeah.
Let's see. I'm just going to share my whole screen here. Okay, can you see it?
We can see now all of your screen. Now we're actually seeing the presentation.
Okay, so I'm going to go to Hick and Nook and mint a piece. This is the piece we're going to mint here. And it's just a JPEG file. I scaled it, so it's about 5 megabytes in size. The maximum size is 40 megabytes, but 5 megabytes is a good size for quick loading. So here's Hick and Nook, hickandnook.xyz/mint. Right here, you can mint an object. Before you can mint, you have to first set up a wallet. So here's my Kukai wallet. I recommend Kukai. It's been pretty good generally. And you connect your wallet through the web. So it talks to the browser. You have to click up here. I don't know if I should go through the whole process, but basically you sync to your wallet up here. There's a little button that says sync. Then a notification will come up here, and the two will sync together. And yeah, so let's make this real quick. Bring up the text here. So you enter the title. I like to write all of this beforehand because sometimes something goes wrong, or you want to change something and then it forgets what you typed. So I like to have everything in a separate text file. Just checking everything's right. Then there's also these tags that allow you to later search the piece. And then you have to enter. At this point, you have to enter the number of editions. So Alex, I think we said 30, right? So we'll do 30 editions.
Yeah, so more people can get a chance to have it.
So this will be a special piece. We'll do a higher edition at a more affordable price. So this should be fun. And royalties, we'll just do 10%. You can enter anything between 10 and 25% or zero. Can you do zero? Oh, okay. 10% is the lowest, so we'll just keep it at 10%. Okay, and then you upload the actual object file. And let's see if I can find it. Let's see. I don't know if we can just drop it in. Nope. So okay, and click preview. There you go. So then now you can kind of check everything, and then you hit mint, and hopefully this will work. What's the problem with live demos? So you'll get this request here, and then when it says awaiting confirmation, it will have communicated with the Kukai wallet in the other tab, and then you have to enter your password. This is the password you use to encrypt your wallet, and then you cross your fingers. All right, here we go. So called mint object, that's the call to the contract, the contract on the blockchain. And then it usually takes a few minutes to appear. So maybe we should continue for now with I don't know how quickly it's going to appear, so we can actually swap it. So there's actually two steps. You have to mint the piece, and then when you swap it, you make it available for purchase. I don't know how quickly it's going to go through. Usually it takes a few minutes. Do you want to wait now, or should we?
Yeah, we have to wait. Then maybe we can move on. It's up to you. How long do you think we have to wait?
Yeah, we could do one more talk, for example, and then after that. How about that?
Yeah, perfect. It looks like we're also going to have some time for the panel, since now we have Jack and David, who is our last set of speakers, and this is probably going to give us like 15 minutes for a panel in the end. So maybe you can speak about the wallet and the NFT just before the panel or around it. So I think it works out great, basically. Then I see there's a question which is a bit of a technical question. I guess maybe that's something that's better answered in the chat. I don't know, Mike, if you want to help Saint Meta. So thanks for that. And now we're moving on to our last set of speakers, Jack and probably David. Are you there, guys?
Definitely, David.
Cool. So the stage is yours.
So, hello everyone, I'm Jack Oat. I am here today speaking on behalf of eyeXmachina, the collective that Bruce is Stelios, as you know him. Fabio, I don't know if he's here today, and recently David joined us. We started with Bruce 3 years ago. At the time, I was primarily a photographer, and I was doing erotic photography and boudoir. And because of the way I was shooting, because I put the camera on a tripod and it would take pictures every 7-second intervals, I would end up with massive amounts of files. And one day Bruce came to my place. He saw I had an installation which was a mosaic that was made up of thousands of pictures that was making up another picture. And he says, how many pictures do you have? And I say, I have gazillion pictures. So we started working on training a gun to take pictures, to create pictures the way I take pictures. In the last 3 years, we have done a lot of things, but the more we do, the less we care about the one thing we do, because this is a brand new medium, the way I see it. It's like when less than 200 years ago, there was no photography. Suddenly there was a medium of photography. And people jumped on it either to embrace it or to condemn it. And the ones that jumped on it to embrace it either jumped on it to make money or to explore it and understand it. So at the same time that we had photographers taking pictures of portraits of people to become millionaires of the era, we had, for example, Man Ray doing the photograms. He was placing semi-transparent objects on top of a photographic, photosensitive piece of paper, and he would explore the medium, what can come out of it. Can I share my screen, Bruce?
Yeah, you can. Screen sharing is enabled.
So, it's this one. Yes, this one. Just a second. So these are the photograms that Man Ray was doing. Right now, if a photographer did this, this has no worth. This is how a photographer starts. But when photography was starting, Man Ray was testing the medium and he was doing baby steps.
Jack, can I just interrupt?
Yes, of course.
You're on your Twitter. I don't think I'm not seeing the right page.
What?
I don't think I'm seeing the right page.
Oh, okay. So I stopped sharing and I share again.
Does that make sense? Bruce, was that correct for me?
Yeah, I wasn't sure what you were saying, but yeah, we're seeing the Twitter.
Do you see
Oh,
that?
by the way, hi David. I couldn't
Yeah.
see you because of so many people.
What are you seeing now?
The right page.
Yeah, Man Ray photograms.
Yes. So this is how Man Ray started testing the medium. And now what all of us are doing essentially is that we are testing the medium in our own way. Some are making money out of it. We as a collective, we want to stretch it. We want to see what we can get out of it. We want the medium to guide us by doing things, not to get a realistic result, but to get something that is confusing. Can you see now? What do you see now?
Google search?
Google search again. So I'm not great with Zoom. Sorry. This is the first set of pictures we got from our gun here. And I found it very interesting because it's not realistic. This is from a network that Bruce created, set up on his computer.
Jack, you might have to reload the page because for me it's blank.
For you it's blank. So.
That's better. There you go.
Yes?
Yeah.
This takes time to load apparently.
Okay. So we did that. Then we used a better platform. We got better results with color and with pictures. And can you see this one here? And after that, we are now also experimenting with text. This is a page of our book that is both the text and the picture is generated by the Canva. Can you see this now? On,
no, we see only the faces. We see only the faces.
You see only the faces again. This is embarrassing. Share screen. Do you see our OpenSea account now?
Yeah.
Yes, this is a page of a book that we are helping the AI write. Both the text and the picture is created by the AI, let's say. And from here on, we want to mix things to see what the medium can give us so that we can understand the medium and then use it as artists. I see absolutely no difference from going from drawing to taking pictures. I see no difference from going to taking pictures on film to taking pictures on digital cameras. It's all the medium is evolving and we are evolving with it. And a bright example of the new medium and how the new medium can be used in ways that other media has not been used is what David is doing. So I'm going to pass this on to David for now. And he can tell us what he's doing with the mediums, with the media.
Thank you, Jack. Yeah, well, I've got a unique approach to NFTs, and I've been approaching it with a comedy angle, you could say. And I've been making a lot of promotional videos and promotional content for other NFT artists, which have been going quite a long way amongst the community. For example, when Snoop Dogg released his NFT, I made a video promoting it, and he retweeted it. He obviously found it quite funny. It was a humorous piece. But so I'm kind of trying to take the NFT world, if not to the mainstream. You know, a lot of followers who don't know anything about NFTs can probably relate to my content because it's coming from an angle which is ludicrous and silly, but it also gives them a bit of an introduction into what NFTs are. I myself have got a few collections going, and I found that with this marketing approach, I've been successful. I've been selling lots of NFTs. It's been amazing. I've only been in the space for about a month and a half, and it's just been wonderful. You could say I'm very deep into the community, especially on Twitter and on Clubhouse. And yeah, it's been a really exciting journey so far. And with the medium of creating content on TikTok and Instagram, I've been able to sell lots of NFTs and cause and create attention to what I'm doing and attention to other artists as well. I think that sums it up. Jack, what do you think?
Tell us what you're doing. Show us something. Show us your crypto.
Yeah, maybe like also to share some of the crypto lears. I think
yes. And the reviews. Don't tell us what you're doing. Show us what you're doing. Okay. We have to see a review.
And also it would be good, since I know there might be a few artists in the audience, to also maybe say a few words about, I don't know, topics like how easy you found it to break into NFTs, about what are your thoughts maybe on pricing, just a few words, because apparently from the conversations we see in the channel, there are many people who are interested in getting involved in this space. I see many people are asking Mike about some technical questions, where this space is heading. So any input you might have as an artist, I think is going to be very valuable for the audience as well.
As an artist myself, and on the topic of pricing, I think that's all comes down to how much you value yourself as an artist, and that's the value starts there. And how, you know, for example, take the time it took you to make the piece, and not only that, the time of the experience you've had, you know, the years of experience you've had, kind of also goes into the price. You know, there are different markets. I think, you know, there are different NFTs. For example, one of my collections is very much in the pixel art world, and I find that there's, with NFTs, even with the art world, you could break each one down to different genres: photography, 3D art, VR art, pixelated art. There are many vector-based art. There are many, and they all kind of have their own little communities on Twitter. But at the same time, you know, NFT is the umbrella, and they all live under the umbrella, and we're all participating in it and working together to lift everybody and lift everyone's art. I'm going to log into my OpenSea now. That's the platform I'm using, OpenSea. I found it to be very good for the genre of art I'm creating, which is pixelated art. But then you could say Foundation is the great platform for 3D artists and displaying 3D art. The same as Rareable is an amazing platform for owning vast collections, you know, of maybe 100 things of one. I hope this is providing value to everybody listening. Let me log in now, and I'll show you exactly what I am doing. I'm just signing into my MetaMask, so please bear with me. The passwords. I always forget my passwords. Here we go. Oh. me just, oh, I don't need to log into my MetaMask, actually, I can just find it this way. So I've started a collection of, which will be 10,000 individually created pieces. Now, what you could do, and what we have seen happen, like only this week, the Bored Ape Yacht Club was a generative collection of 10,000 pieces of apes. You've probably seen them, and which it poses the question, you know, what is generative? What's the feelings towards generative art, and what's the feelings towards individual art? That poses amongst the NFT community. Some people prefer, you know, artists take like creating individual pieces, and NFT being a journey, not necessarily a race to just quickly grab everything and get everything out there. But at the same time, I admire generative art and the technology, because obviously the technology is amazing, and to utilize it going forward, we're learning at the same time. So let me see if I can share can I share my screen, Bruce?
Yes, screen sharing is enabled.
Yeah, so this is what I've made. They're called Crypto Leo, and they're based upon the Leonardo DiCaprio, in the glimmer of hope that one day Leonardo DiCaprio will get involved in the NFT world. Not sure he will, because he's a massive environmentalist, but you know, you could hope. Yeah, I've made these, and I've been selling loads. They've got 37 owners. You know, it's loads to me, obviously, because I'm only entered this world. But the way I've been marketing them is with the use of Twitter. Let's see, and being a part of the community, being an active voice in the community. This is my Twitter. If anybody wants to follow me, I'm happy to follow you back, David Gersch. As you can see, I'm quite out there. But yeah, I've been doing giveaways, and I've been a voice in the community, promoting other artists. I don't know whether I can show you a promo video. Let me see. Here we go. This is my other vector-based art, which I just do in the meantime. But here we go. This is this a good one? This is a very camp character I created, yeah.
Let's take a look at today's featured NFT heritage. Oh, it's absolutely delightful. What we've got here is V-Friends by up-and-coming artist Gary V. 10,000 tokens, each with unique qualities, projections of one's subconscious mind, doodles of one's imagination, coexisting simultaneously with real-world opportunities, taking NFTs out for a disco dance and a fine wine four-course pizzeria. Pepperoni, please. They're dropping today, and there is some serious demand. See if you can get your little toes in these socks and be a part of NFT history.
So as you can see, it's very camp, and it's very stereotyped on what an art world critic would be. Maybe someone like Jerry Saltz, who I based it upon. Yeah. I've also got other characters like Darius Havana, who is a big-time NFT whale investor, who is playing on the likes of Mark Cuban. So what I'm doing is I'm taking, you know, well-known real people in real life who are in this NFT scene, and I'm just satirizing them in the hope to, get NFTs into as many people's faces as possible. That's enough from me now. Thank you very much for listening. Let me stop sharing my screen.
Thank you, David. This was a very nice and surreal ending of the talk. We will also be sharing some more links to the work of eyeXmachina and some links to the NFTs. I'm trying to do this, but I'm pretty poor at multitasking, and I'm feeling miserably at it. I'll do it shortly.
I can do it.
Okay, sure. So we're gonna go into the panel. Before we go into the panel, Mike's NFT is uploaded. So Mike, we're all very, very, very curious to see the final product of this process.
Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. So yes, the piece it took a couple of minutes. So if you go to your collection, there it is. And then somebody already asked me on the chat, well, why is it not for sale yet? It takes 2 steps. So the first step is to mint the piece, and that just uploads the metadata to the blockchain and the image object to IPFS and makes it visible. And then you have to do the second step, which is the swap. So you go to manage objects, up here, manage your assets, you swap. And so let's say, for example, we swap the first 20 for 15 TES. And so you don't have to swap everything at once. You can swap them in batches, for example. Sometimes that's useful for creating tiered pricing, or it can be useful for beating the bots. So we've had a lot of problems. People give away pieces for free. That suddenly the bots just snap up all of them. So if you just release them bit by bit, it's a little bit ahead of that process. So again, it will try and connect to your Kukai wallet. It'll tell you up here. So you go over to the other tab. You type in your password. All right, and then you'll see this called swap here. And again, this will take a minute or two to get live on the chain. It will say unconfirmed. You can see this was the earlier call here called mint object 20 minutes ago, and that's confirmed. So it was included in a block. Yeah, so usually this goes through. So if you reload this page, in the next couple of minutes, it should be available for purchase. And then there should be a price here. You can click on this button, and then the same thing happened with your wallet. It will try and connect to your wallet, and then you can confirm the collection. All right. Thank you, and thanks for listening. And huge thank you to Alex for bringing me on this journey.
I think
it
it's live
a real
now.
blast.
So it's really converted really quickly. It swapped right
Oh,
away.
okay, cool. Great.
Thanks for showing us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks. Yeah, I think that has been great because we saw like the whole process of uploading an NFT, and I'm sure that many people in the audience who want to get involved in NFTs, they all think that Ethereum is the only solution. So it's good to also be aware of Tezos. And also both your presentation, but also David, I think are very useful for anyone looking to promote their work. Seems these days Twitter is the way to go. So that's great to know. So thanks everyone. And now I think since we're on time, we probably have, I don't know, like 10, 15 minutes tops for a panel discussion. And I have a question which I promised that I would ask the panel. It's a question someone asked about an hour ago as to whether quality of the art will prevail. Okay, this sounds like a very serious question. I'm not sure if Aiden would like to answer this.
I don't mind putting my thoughts into that.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
You know, art is subjective, so it's, you know, NFT is just the art world digitalized, and it's yeah, there is a lot of crazy stuff on OpenSea in particular, but who's to say it's rubbish? Of course, there are. You could look at a piece and be like, oh, that clearly is compared to this piece. It's all subjective, it's all comparisons, you know. But I'm sure the technology will advance, and, you know, like someone like Beeple, incredible artist, and, you know, it's exciting to welcome more and more artists into the digital world, and I'm sure the art will be seeing amazing things. If you just look through Foundation, it really is the creme de la creme of NFTs. That's enough for me.
Can I?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Zach.
So, first of all, I want to say that in our collective, I'm the skeptic one. I don't understand anything. I don't understand why these things exist. If you're familiar, there is a remix of a Niels Fram piece called An Analog in a Digital World. These things barely make sense to me, but because Bruce is holding my hand, we are going together. So I think that, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I think NFTs and the hype about NFTs is like when we first got a credit card or a debit card. I don't know how old all of you are, but at first there was no credit cards. You had cash and you would buy with cash. When credit cards came about, we were using them just to use the credit card. And when I was, how old I wasn't, mobile phones came about and nobody had them, we were calling people just to use the mobile phone. So I think that the NFT hype is a hype of a new medium again, a new platform. Some people are riding the hype and they will stay on top because they are creating a new genre. But at the end, exactly like with credit cards and with FaceTime and with every new platform, the hype will come down and the art will prevail. Of course, people will also use it to launder money because art has been used like that forever. But if you want to look at that, this is what you will see. If you want to look for art, art will prevail. Of course, art will prevail.
That's a good point. Anyone else wants to provide their opinion? Otherwise, we can move on to the next question. I guess we can have one more question. Okay, if there are no more comments, then I'm going to ask one more question our panel around the future of NFTs. Very big topic. Okay, it's like, who can predict the future? I expressed a couple of opinions on the chat. If anyone wants to, provide their opinion, feel free. It won't criticize you. Everything right now is a guess in this space, since it's moving so fast.
Yeah, NFTs, I was going to say, is just an enabler for like, as Elizabeth was saying, she'd be able to explain it a bit better. But yeah, it's just an enabler for doing more things in a more legitimate way online. And it's going to really, everyone can prevail.
Yeah, I was just going to add on to that the way to think about it is that we all just sort of uploaded all of our data to the ether without putting any kind of protection around it. And now all of a sudden we realize we can protect our data. And whether that's art or whether that's our identity or whether that's our money, and also not have a centralized authority. That's the whole point of DeFi and blockchain, is to not have a centralized authority. And that's why it's all this many to many, each of us to each of us, selling, buying, communicating, as opposed to, and not having a middle institute or something. So I think it's a huge and massive movement that is just starting with art. And art is, people weren't that excited about cryptocurrency. I mean, only some people were, but everyone loves art, and to whatever their taste might be.
Can I just add, I think the perpetual royalties, artists and anyone, book publishers, real estate agents, anything, event holder, like distributors, movie distributors will receive in this technology is groundbreaking, and probably that will propel NFTs into more than just art.
Yes, and I agree with all the previous speakers. I think there is a lot in NFT apart from art. And for example, we already working with some fashion bloggers, and everybody is very interested in the market. So, and I think it's really, I believe, as Elizabeth mentioned, I believe in transformative nature of NFT, that it will transform the whole picture of the world we see today. And we will have more and more things happening on blockchain without centralized authority. And it's awesome.
Yeah, well, these are great points, especially the point around not having a centralized authority, whether we're talking about finance, whether we're talking about art. This was actually the vision that was originally set by Satoshi Nakamoto, whomever this person or these people are, in the seminal Bitcoin paper. So I think that's a great point, and I think it's also a very, very good way to conclude this meetup, right? So thanks everyone for joining us today. A few people are asking about the recording. This session, as I mentioned, is being recorded. It will be made available in the next few days on the datascientist.com and also on the Tesseract Academy and on YouTube. Just make sure to go there.
And as NFT, of course, yes?
Sorry?
It is also going to be available as NFT.
That's actually a great idea. Maybe we should also mint it on OpenSea. That's actually not a bad idea. Maybe we should start doing it for all our meetups. Yeah, yeah, I'd really like to thank especially our speakers. So thanks everyone for making it. I know that some people like Elizabeth are in different time zones, so it's, you know, so I think sometimes it's a bit challenging to make sure that everyone syncs. So thanks a lot, and we hope to see you soon in some other of our events.
It was nice to see everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Stylians.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
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 Take care, everybody.